What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera. And here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we like to show you that the comeback is more than possible. And today, man, y'all are going to be psyched about the guest I'm bringing onto the show. Y'all are going to love his energy. His story is phenomenal. He's a serial entrepreneur. Ian Fee, welcome to the show, brother.
Joe, thanks for having me, man. I know it has been an event to try to get on here, so I appreciate you working with me in my crazy schedule because we're tip to tip, coast to coast. I'm Seattle, you're New York.
Yeah, man. I know both our schedules been bonkers, but we made it happen. We're here now. That's the important part. You know,
That's right.
we got it going. So listen, I've heard your story. It's an incredible story, but there's no way that I'm as qualified as you are to tell your story. So I'd love for you to share your story, strength, and hope with the audience, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. 34 years of drunken debauchery to 8 years sober today. My first drink was at the age of 1, if you can believe that. There's a picture, I think you saw it in my book. I'm sitting there in one of those little spinning things, and my old man's giving me a good old banquet of beers. Man, and that's where my first liquor started at the age of 13. I was working in a bar in beautiful Salton Sea. Most people don't know where that is because it's the armpit of the world, which is 50 miles south of Palm Springs. Graduating class, 17 kids, played 8-man football. Didn't drink a whole lot really in high school because I was just, I focused on sports. I was a 3-sport athlete. I was starting quarterback, starting point guard, pitcher, shortstop. So I just kind of focused on that. But man, as soon as I got out of high school and hit San Diego, where you're going to go visit here shortly, man, it all became booze was my superpower. I thought if I could get people out drinking martini lunches, strip clubs, casinos, I didn't care where. If I got them out of their environment, man, I thought booze was my superpower. I could get people, out and about, liquored up, love them. I was growing my business. And 2 failed marriages, 3 amazing kids. 2017, it all came crashing down and went to rehab. And that's when the good Lord touched me on the shoulder and changed my life. So that's it in kind of a nutshell. So I wrote a book about it too, which was pretty eventful journey as well. As I'm sure you feel the same of writing your book, man. It's very therapeutic for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, I felt like when writing my book, I mean, there was so much that came back, and so many different types of emotions, I know, in my book, I was writing letters to my mom who passed away years ago and writing letters to God. And it's just, there was so much gratitude in going through the journey and writing the book because I don't, I don't regret my past. I mean, my past is my past. It doesn't define who I am. And I'm grateful that I'm able to utilize my past to catapult me into my future, So yeah, it was definitely very rewarding and a lot of gratitude.
Yeah. I use that old saying is you have to forgive your younger self, believe in your current self, and create your future self, which clearly you have done.
You as well. You as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, we're a pair. Nothing good came out of booze for me. Nothing. Not one good thing.
I mean, dude, I listen, man. There was a time in my life where it was fun, but it was fun until it wasn't fun anymore, and it turned disastrous, and it turned disastrous quick, Uh, so yeah, there was the fun times don't override the disastrous times, not even close,
Oh,
and I'm so grateful that I don't have to live like that anymore. Just grateful of not waking up for the fucking hangover, grateful of, remembering what I did last night. You know what I mean? Like, I don't miss any of that shit.
oh, yeah. I used to wake up with so many regrets. I'd be looking at this thing going, oh, shit. Did I say that? Oh, my. My neighbors would be like, oh, hey, I told Jill she had great looking boobs. Oh, my God. How do I apologize to my buddy for that? Like, just the stupidest things of regrets. And it was daily for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was just bonkers, man. So I'm curious, what was that turning point for you? Where was it where you said, "Man, enough's enough"? And were you it was just strictly alcohol, or was there drugs involved,
Yeah,
or
no, I was just a boozer. I never touched blow or any hard. I didn't smoke weed until I was 30, and was like, well, I ate 2 boxes of cereal. That was fun.
Ah,
Booze was my vice for sure. Again, I thought booze was my superpower, man.
yeah.
It was crazy. But that turning point for me, I had 2 failed marriages, so I was approaching my second failed marriage, 2017. And everybody's like, where was your rock bottom, man? Where was it? And I'm like, I stacked so many rock bottoms.
Mm,
And in 2017, and I was just on a podcast this last week with a group of ex hockey players, and I used to use the term my complete rock bottom was third day in rehab, and he's like, "Man, that is the best day of your life," and it kind of hit me. So really, the best day of my life that ever happened, besides obviously my kids, was the third day in rehab. I went into rehab for everybody else, for my kids, for my wife, for my business, for my friends, for everybody else but this guy. And on the third day, man, I was sitting in there, and the good Lord touched me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, unless you're right and you get your shit together, nothing ever is going to be right. You need to get you right." And that just, it gives me goosebumps talking about it. That was the best day of my life, man. That was the turning point for me. Third day in rehab was like, I got this, and I'm going to go be a better me, and everything else will be better. I'll be a better dad. I'll be a better friend. But man, I gotta look in the mirror and go, it's on me,
yeah.
and I live and breathe that every day.
So, I mean, 34 years, man. That's a that's a career in drinking, you know?
Man, I got to tell you, man, I was an all American. I
Yeah,
was an all
yeah.
American drinker, and
Man,
I'm
I
doing the
agree,
math.
man.
I was doing the math in your old career of being a financial advisor, man. I spent over $1 million in booze. I could go entertain clients 2,000 here. I remember my kids' college 21st birthday. I spent like $2,300 at some hole in the wall dive bar, thinking I'm the guy. Like, oh, shots on
Yeah,
Ian, shots here. Hey, we all need shots. How about another round? Like, it was so reckless. I sure wish I had that money today, for sure.
yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, I've spent millions on drugs and alcohol. I mean, yeah, I'll tell you this though. I mean, it $1 million on alcohol is impressive. You know what I mean? That's a fucking feat right there. I mean, drugs are a little bit more expensive than alcohol, but alcohol alone, man, that's big.
Man, the money I spent, and let alone, Joe, the time I bought back by not sitting in bars. Like I'd literally go to happy hour, place where I'm sitting a couple miles away, Daniel's Broiler, and start lunches and do martini lunches that would roll into 3 o'clock happy hours to 6 o'clock dinners and wine to, hey, 9 o'clock, let's roll back and have some Camus at my house sitting in the hot tub. That would be 10 hours plus. And this just wasn't one day a week. This was uh, sometimes 6, sometimes 7. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah, I remember those liquid lunches, man. Holy shit, I remember those, man. It was, yeah, bonkers. So I'm curious though. You mentioned you went to rehab. How long did you go to rehab for?
It was a very intense. It was a 10-day rehab, which is called, they call it aversion therapy. So I've never done AA or a 12-step, or uh, I looked at a 30-day Betty Ford deal in California and a couple other places, but I didn't want to be gone that long. I didn't want people to, I guess, realize at that time that, hey, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
So I found this 10-day aversion, and thank God it was local in Seattle. They had one in Seattle, one in Florida. And aversion therapy is they induce vomiting with alcohol. So you do 5 days of that and 5 days of sedation. So um,
Were you going through withdrawals? I'm sure you're going through the withdrawals and shakes and all that shit, right?
no, I didn't. No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I never was, I was such a social drinker. Like to go drink by myself, that wasn't me. I didn't have like a water bottle filled with vodka sitting in my car or hidden in places. So there, I'd say I drink almost every day. There would probably be days that I was praying to God, just make me feel better, and I won't drink, which I wasted a lot of prayers on those.
yeah.
Um,
You were still
uh,
listening though.
he's still listening. So it wasn't. There were a couple days off in between those debaucheries, but no, I really didn't. You couldn't drink for 3 days going into this rehab, or else you did have to go into detox. So I knew that. So I didn't want to be in there 13. So I went in pretty cleaned up and filtered by the time I went in there on my first day. But man, you know what Epicac is? It induces vomiting. Or if kids get poisoned or whatever, it makes you just feel nauseous, like you're gonna, like a good old hangover right before you're gonna puke when you've had too much to drink.
Yeah.
You would go to this doctor's office, and it was a full bar. And we called them bartenders. The nurse sitting right here, and in front of you, there's a mirror, a silver bucket, and you're sitting down. Epicac takes a couple minutes to kick in. Bartender gives you a shot, swish it around your mouth, spit it out. Here's some Crown Royal, swish that around your mouth, spit it out. By the time you get to the third one, you're pretty much violently vomiting. And they get you up to 18 shots, Joe, before you can get out of there. Of everything, from whiskey to Coors to Bud Light to Heineken to Scotch. I mean, you name it. You're taking it, swishing around your mouth. To this day, silver bowls, because that's what I'd be throwing up in. I don't have silver bowls in my house to this day because it makes my mouth water to this day, 8 years later. So I don't have anything blue in my house, like blue Gatorade or Powerade, because that's what I used to get super hydrated on, because they'd make you drink a gallon of something before you went into the Duffy room, they called them. So I don't have anything blue in my house, and I definitely don't have silver mixing bowls in my house because it's still such a massive trigger.
Yeah, I mean, those triggers, you got to stay away from them, man. You got to, and be mindful of what those triggers are, right? So, that's congratulations on your sobriety and congratulations on the work that you've done in yourself, right? To be aware of what those triggers are and know, hey, you know what? I got to stay away from this. I got to stay away from that. Because there's a lot of people out there who don't do that type of work and then they end up going out and they relapse and it's a vicious cycle. I mean, I've seen it for decades in people. I used to be one of those people where I would swear to God, I'm not going to drink and drug again. And then next thing I know, I'm fucking drinking and drugging again because I wasn't being aware of the triggers. I wasn't doing the work. And the people don't realize like, man, this putting the drugs down, putting the alcohol down is the easy part. It's about peeling back the onion and taking stock of who you are. It's about learning how to forgive yourself, learning how to look in the mirror and apologize to yourself for all the damage that you did, all the damage that you caused your family, the self-destruction, the agony, the pain. That's where the work is, the
Yeah,
substance isn't the problem.
you nailed it. You nailed it. I didn't realize how much, and same with you, of how much I was numbing emotions, feelings, sadness, happiness, all of it, man. And when you have to sit in your dirty diaper, sober, and deal with feelings and cry and be sad and be mad and be happy, and man, that was the toughest part for me. And quickly after rehab, I got a life coach, which was a lifesaver also for me. My circle was my ride or die. I have the tightest, best circle in life. Which you talk about triggers, man. A lot of my triggers was my circle would be like, oh, hey, let's go to Las Margaritas and have margaritas because we had a good day, or hey, we had a bad day. Any excuse to go drink. So yeah, I preach a lot, man. Your circle, it's the old saying of like, show me your five friends, I'll show you your future, right? So
Yeah.
it's your circle is a
It's
powerful,
everything.
powerful
It's
thing.
everything because if you surround yourself with people who inspire you, guess what? You're always going to be inspired to do more with your life. If you hang out with people who are draining your energy and bringing that catabolic toxic energy into your life, then you're going to have walk around with that catabolic toxic energy, right? You want to be around people who bring you that anabolic energy that's going to raise your standards, raise you want to raise you want to raise your standards, you want to raise your success level, raise your circle of influence, bring it to the next level. My family used to have a
Yep.
saying that has a saying that was it was a saying in Puerto Rico actually, but it's dime con quién te andas y te digo quién eres. Tell me who you are, tell me who you walk with, and I'm going to tell you who you are. And that's so true. It's I mean it's
Thousand
everything, you know. Your circle of influence is vital, and sometimes, well, what I've learned through this journey, Ian, and you could tell me if you agree with this, but um, when you're taking yourself to that next level, and you have to shed the people who were with you at that point because they can't go where you are, it could be painful because sometimes it's people that you deeply care about, and they're not going to the same place you are. They're not on that same wavelength. They're not as evolved as you are. And if you continue to hang with those people, they're going to just bring you down, man.
Yeah, I agree 1,000. I think people have seasons in your life, right? And especially if you're on the path that we are, is to be better every day and make an impact every day and constantly evolving to be better, that certain people are going to take you certain places. And again, they came in for that season, and there's this next person that's going to take you to the next level, right? So people do have those seasons, and some stay with you for that whole journey, and some I think we outgrow relationships,
Yeah.
because we're growing and we have this mindset of growth and be better and make an impact. And some people just are comfortable, and I'm not knocking them. Some people are just comfortable in their world. They're okay hanging out with, talking about Friday nights when they were in high school 40 years ago about how wonderful it was, and a play they made. And it kind of blows my mind a little bit that they live in that world, but that's okay. It's not my place to judge them. It's just people that I'm not going to be around. I want to go talk about, hey, what's your dreams, your goals, your ambitions? How can we help each other get to where we're going, right? So yeah, people definitely have seasons in your life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that if you really, to go even deeper, right? If you focus on those seasons in your life and you really pay attention and think back, every season of your life has a purpose, and it brings you into the season that you are now. Because, what happens in those seasons, I mean, it's like the old saying of what happens in the dark brings you to the light. So no matter what those seasons look like, your darkest season played a purpose in your life to bring you to the light in the season you're in now, the season that you're going into. I'm a really big believer in that.
Yeah,
Um,
your biggest failures are your biggest lessons, right? You know,
Absolutely.
go fail first and fast,
Yep.
because it's going to be your best lesson.
That's it. Fail forward. Fail forward. Learn from it. Learn from those failures. I mean, you look at the most successful people in the world. Every one of them had failure in their life,
Hmm.
and they've learned how to overcome failure and utilize it to catapult them into their future. It's a fact. There's nobody out there that that's successful, like ultra successful, that hasn't failed in their life. And if they're telling you they haven't failed, they're full of shit.
Yeah,
They're full of shit. There's no way you're not going to be successful without some kind of failure going on.
yeah.
So, what were some of the challenges, and what was the stories that you were telling yourself when you were in active use, when you were out there drinking and you were out there, life was completely unmanageable.
Yeah, for me, I was a people pleaser. Man, I was always making sure everybody was great. Um, I'll give you a story of thinking I'm a present father and I'm not. So I had this RV, and my kids were very good athletes all through junior high, high school. So we would have these double headers and whatever, a couple hours away from Seattle, wherever. So I had this RV, which really was a portable bar, Joe, because I'd go to these college stadiums, high school stadiums, and it was loaded with, Bailey's, booze, vodka, hot dogs. And if it was a morning game, everybody had coffee cups, so I was very strategic in my drinking. Everybody had coffee and Bailey's in the stands. Meanwhile, my kids are playing baseball or softball behind me. And then there'd be a break, and then we would go do fireball shots and come back to the RV. We'll grill up at noontime. Let's go switch cups, and we're going to go do either Coors or we're going to do vodka sodas, man. And I was making sure everybody was so okay. And I'm thinking I'm a present dad as my kids are playing sports behind me. So I can't tell you how many games I missed, but I was there. So the definition of being present has a whole new meaning to me today. And I was such a people pleaser, man, and it was so sheltering of like, it was everybody else's fault. If there were issues, man, I was just numbing whatever I had. Like, it was always everybody else's fault. Like, I had no issues at home because it's your fault. I'm the provider. I provide nice cars. I provide a house. I provide vacations. Like, I'm not the problem here. So can you just take care of this shit? And man, when I got sober, I had to look in the mirror and be like, and I had two great ex-wives, still friends with them today. They weren't the problem, man. I was.
Yeah.
I was the problem. I had to look in the mirror and go, it's on me. Yeah, as much as I was like deflecting it's everybody else's fault, but mine. And it took me a little bit to like, man, it's on me. I'm the problem. And a lot of people have a tough time in the world to go, I'm the problem. I need to be fixed. Instead of just blaming everybody else, I was really good at the blame game. So getting sober was eye-opening to really look in the mirror and go, I'm the problem. It's on me. Let's go fix this shit. So
Yeah.
that was a tough thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking accountability and realizing, there's nobody else to blame but me. I gotta look deep and say, you know what? I'm the problem. Let me go make changes that I have to make to change my life so that I could live a better life and be the best version of myself for my kids so that I could be able to be present. Because man, I remember the days too of, being out there thinking that, I'm being present because I'm there, but I'm not fucking present. I'm all fucked up. How present could I be if I'm all fucking mangled on drugs and alcohol? And, I mean, I might show up to my son's game, but was I really being present? Was I really there for him, to really be the best father that I could be? I mean, I always was in my son's life, right? But man, to look back now and say, man, there was so many times I wasn't fucking present because today I know what presence means. Today I know what peace means. And I didn't have any of that going back then. And, there's a lot of work that has to get done on these defects of character that we have. And we all have them, right? But when we're drinking and drugging, man, we don't look at them at all because we're not looking at ourselves.
Oh,
Everybody
no.
else is the problem. Everything else is the
Everybody
reason that
else is
we're
the
in trouble.
problem.
What was some of the character defects that you've had to remove from your life? You realize, man, I can't live like that no more. I mean, for me, I had manipulation, I had self doubt, I had worry, I had imposter syndrome. What was some of those? I mean, and those still come up today, right? But I've learned how to manage them and learn how to that they don't control my life. I'm in control of when that worry comes up. I'm in control of when that self doubt comes up, and I'm like, up here it goes again. That's that character defect, and being aware of it so that I could shift the paradigm on that. What was some of the character defects that you've dealt with, and you still deal with that you've learned to overcome?
Yeah, worry's a big one. What do people think? Um, what's people's perception? Am I enough? Um, Worry. My mom was a big worry wart, so I inherited that. Like,
Yeah,
go be careful, right? Instead of like everything had to be like, and everything's good. Like, we didn't communicate in my family of like feelings or emotions. So I've had to learn that at the age of late 40s of like how to deal with a feeling and communicate because it was like
yeah,
everything's always good in my house. And my parents were very social alcoholics. They never argued. Everything was always good. Everything's good. Hey, and I was talking with my brother. My mom passed away a couple years ago. We were like, hey, did mom ever ask, are you okay? And not one time could we remember that of like, hey, are we okay? See, I've had a lot of carrying that. Am I okay? And there's so much stuff you have to deal with. And I just numbed that like you did back in the day. We would just numb it because I don't want to feel those feelings. Like, fuck that's weird. I don't want to deal with
yeah,
shit. I was always born and raised like everything's good. So I walk through life like everything's good. And what can I do? Oh, did I hurt somebody's feelings? And what do they think of me? Like, oh shit! Now I don't give a fuck what people think of me.
that's right.
That's my problem. I worry about setting the tone and setting the day for me and my family. I really don't care what people think of me. I've lost 80 pounds not drinking, so I got a lot of people like, hey, how'd you do it? What are you doing? And making an impact like you're doing with your book and your podcast. Like, man, that's the purpose in life. Like, I didn't have a purpose for so long. I was just lost. I had money and thought a car was nice and that would make you feel good, and pretty vacations, nice wives, my kids. I'm the coach for my dad. For my kids. I was like the perfect dad in my little brain, when I was the complete opposite. That I wasn't there. I wasn't present. I wasn't a good dad. And kids catch more than you teach them. I taught my kids how to drink and party like a rock star.
Yeah.
I have my kids write letters in my book, and my daughter, who's 28 today, super smart, graduated Seattle U, master's in Edinburgh, just a brainiac. She would text me on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock as I'm downstairs partying with my older son and my neighbors and 26 other random people. Could you turn the music down? I'm studying. This is on a Tuesday. And I'd be like, whatever, let's turn it up. Of like, what a horrible, it was very tearful reading that when she wrote that, but it's the truth of that. Like, holy shit, that's a reality check right there. Um, yeah. So we teach, it's not what we say, it's what we do is a bigger impact. And no different than you with what you're doing. People probably come to you like, bro, you have changed so much. And you don't have to say anything, they just see it, right?
Yeah, it's just your energy. Your energy is different. The way you show up is different. It's just the people feel it. When I walk in a room, it's just a different presence than when it was when I was all fucked up, drinking and drugging, and it's like a different person, right? Because it's I reforged my life, no pun intended, right? But yeah, I had to reinvent who I was. I had to I had to learn how to change my mindset. Fuck that. I had to learn to change my identity. And it's noticeable. And I appreciate that. I appreciate when people come up and they're like, man, the people that knew me from back then are like, man, there's a different energy about you. You're a new person. Uh, and man, it's also I want to you mentioned something that's really important that I want the audience to pick up on, because there's people out there who are struggling right now, that might be listening to the episode, struggling with drugs, alcohol, whatever vice it is. But when you're going through what you're going through, the people that you love are going through it also. And I don't think that there's enough recognition on how much the families are affected and how they go through the pain, if not just as much, sometimes even worse than we do. Because our life, man, it don't belong to us. It belongs to the people out there that we love.
Yeah, but booze and drugs is a divorce every day on the people outside your ring,
Yeah,
right? Booze and drugs are a divorce every single day of the impact. Just think about, use that analogy to wrap it around your brain if you're still boozing and drugging. Like, you're divorcing every day. Like, they have no idea what's going on in the ripples of the world. And it goes, that ripple is so big. When you throw a stone in a calm pond, man, it just keeps going and
yeah,
going. And that ripple effect is huge, let alone your little circle under your rooftop. Man, that circle, it dribbled out to, my automotive business, and people just so outside my state of that ripple effect was
yeah,
crazy.
yes, yeah. The
It's
ripple
great.
effect conquers, man. It is, and I want to correct myself on what I said before about life. Your life does belong to you. It doesn't belong just to you. It belongs also to the people out there that are in your family, your loved ones, because you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting the people around you that love you, and that ripple effect, like Ian, you're talking about, is could be detrimental, and it could really have an effect, and it could have an effect for generations after you too. And for people that out there that you impact in other ways. I mean, I look back and I think of, there was people who I was fucked up to, in my active years, and, people that I hurt, and I had to make those amends. And that's another big thing that's really important, right? Is how important to you was forgiveness? Cause I know for me, forgiveness was vital. And I had to learn what forgiveness really is, right? To learn that forgiveness isn't just for the person that I'm asking for forgiveness or the person that I'm actually forgiving. Forgiveness was for me to clean my soul, to clean my side of the street.
1,000%. Forgiveness is an internal mechanism. And until you aren't clouded with whatever you're taking, you don't know what that means, right? Forgiveness is an internal item. You know, people ask me, like, hey, did you go apologize to your kids? No, I forgave myself, but then I set the example going forward what a good dad looks like, what a sober dad looks like, what a present dad looks like. I did it by my actions. So, yeah, the forgiveness piece is such an internal mechanism that once you can embrace it, like, hey, I forgive my younger self, it's okay. I learned from it, and I'm a better person today, period. Move on.
Absolutely. 100%, man.
Because it's the old, apologies, right? Because this goofy thing, and I used to say rude and vulgar shit daily. And I'd be like, oh, hey, Jimmy, sorry. What do people say? Oh, it's okay, right? I didn't have one person go, hey, bro, you were a complete fucking dick.
Yeah.
Not one. They'd all be like, oh, it's okay. It was fine. No big deal. It was funny. Meanwhile, they're talking over here like, that guy was such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, even if you do, like, if I did that in my drunken days, they wouldn't care. So yeah, I had to go deep, deep internal and go, I forgive myself for all that stupid, vulgar, rude messages, texts, verbals, endless. I had to forgive myself.
Yes, 100%, man. Forgiving yourself. I mean, man, I'll forgiving yourself is the most important. And learning what forgiveness really is vital for you to be able to really move forward in your life. So I'm a big believer that when we crack through those belief system, which we mentioned earlier when you were talking about your character defects, right? The self worth, I mean, the self sabotage that comes along, and um, that we uncover core values along that way once we crack through that belief system. And those core values are values that we are able to lean into that help us overcome other challenging times in life, because this life's gonna life, shit's gonna get fucked up, right? There's gonna be bumps in the road. And what are some of those core values that you utilize to help you navigate through those bumps in the road when they do arise in your life?
The biggest thing for me after writing my book, I thought like 94-year-old ladies journal, and I journal daily, and it is all around gratitude. You having a bad day, you setting the tone for your day. If you just every morning woke up and said one, two, or three things that you are grateful for, like my life coach, we start with gratitude. What are you grateful for? That like totally changes my mannerisms, my demeanor, and sets the tone for the day for me. Um, that is probably the biggest thing for me. That is
That's,
a you're having a bad day. Stop for a hot second. Pull over. What are you grateful for?
that's right.
Period. It'll
Yeah.
change your whole being.
Yeah.
And for me, that is the most grounding thing that I can do every single day and set the tone for my day.
Absolutely, man. Gratitude is the attitude. It shifts perspective. It shifts energy. I mean, there's so much that comes from gratitude, man. And yeah, without a doubt. So
That's that's the biggest thing for me, man.
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I mean, my day starts off with gratitude. I remember when I first got sober, it was like 1 to 3 minutes I started with per day. And I mean, today, dude, my morning gratitude lasts 45 minutes to an hour sometimes, because I got so much to be grateful for. My relationship with my higher source that I call God is, I mean, it's stronger than it's ever been. And I got so much to communicate with him about, because I am so thankful.
Yep.
So I'd love for you to share with the audience where they could find you and, what you're doing now.
You can find me all my social from Instagram to TikTok to LinkedIn is just my name, Ian Fee. You can catch my book at ianfee.com. You can check it out, Wild Ride to Sobrieties on Amazon, right below your book a few times. So yeah, you can find me any old place there. If you follow me, all my messages are positive. You won't see a whole lot of negative anything on all my socials because I just try to set the tone and make a difference the best way I can because there's just so much noise in the world, Joe, of negativity. And like I was reading something like 3 minutes of the news affects you 27% negatively for the day. So I'm not a big news guy.
I don't even want.
I control what I can control. You know, I'm aware, but I don't get consumed uh, by all that negativity. And these things, you know, the other thing, when I wake up in the morning, man, I don't look at my phone for 30 minutes.
So important.
I need to get myself right, gratitude, go outside, do some breath work. I just get me, my mind, my body right before, like, you look at your phone, man, you got to react,
Yeah.
right? Whether it be work emails, whether it be negative shit on Instagram, TikTok, whatever your vice is when you're scrolling, like, man, that just starts just the dopamine hit of negativity and judgment and like what are the Joneses doing? Why am I not there? Right? I mean, it's just a flood of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important, man. I preach that all the time. I'm the same way. I don't look at my phone for the first 30 minutes to an hour of my day, because you know the minute you look at your phone, you start. I mean, for me, like I pour into so many people. That's what I do for as my purpose. That's what I do for work. It's my line of business. It's my everything, right? It's to pour into people. And if I don't pour into myself, I can't pour into everyone like that. And the way I pour into myself is taking those moments of gratitude, taking that time in the morning, being able to self-reflect, being able to connect with God. So I got to take care of my mind, my body, my soul first before I could go take care of the rest of the world, right? And that's why first thing morning, you grab my connection with God. I'm listening to something that's going to take my mind to the next level, right? And I'm going to the gym. I'm taking care of mind, body, soul before I start feeding into the rest of the world and letting the rest of the world in. I have to be able to allow myself to connect with myself. So I'm so grateful that you brought that up because I think it's so important.
Yep,
And
you got it. It's setting the tone for you,
yeah,
right? How are you setting the tone for the day?
yeah, it's being intentional. It's all about intention. How intentional are you being about how you want to start your day? You know,
Yeah,
if you want to start your day with allowing the rest of the world in before you start taking care of yourself, then you know you're gonna be taking on the world's problems more than you're handling what your goals are. And it's
yep,
you know same thing with the news, like you were saying that it's all negativity. I mean, you notice how on the news it's all negativity, and then maybe one small story about something that'll lift your spirits. I
yeah.
mean,
A
there's so much.
firefighter saved a dog.
Yeah, they'll never talk about the people, somebody saving somebody's life or something positive that's going on. It's always going to be all the negativities and then surrounding that one little piece of good news. It's all there's 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 something being pushed there. There's a narrative being pushed without a doubt. So Ian, a couple of questions I ask all my guests. The first is, what does the word purpose mean to you?
Purpose means making a difference. Purpose for me means making an impact on somebody every day. That could be as something as small as holding a door. Like chivalry is dead in our world. Like hold a door for somebody, smile, say good morning. The smallest things make the biggest impact on people. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, let it go. That was a bad moment. Don't let that ruin your entire day. Um, so purpose for me is making an impact on somebody every single day. That's the definition I live and breathe by.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, couldn't agree with you more. Make a difference in somebody else's life is so important. It's being of service, you know. Um, and then when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind?
Ooh, I haven't heard that word in a long time. Reforge.
Uh,
Reforge, redefining yourself, reforging yourself, recreating yourself,
That's right.
right? Like I haven't heard that word. No, you stumped me. But I reforged myself in rehab. I reforged myself every single day to be a better version of myself every single day.
That's
So
right.
I
Yeah,
guess I reforge myself daily.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's somebody out there right now who's looking to reforge their life. They don't have the tools, they don't have the know-hows. What's one piece of advice? One piece of advice you could give that person that's looking to reforge their life, whether it's
Look
in
at
their health, finances, relationships, business, whatever domain of their life.
I'd say, look in the mirror and go, it's on me. At one point in some person's life, whether, I had all these signs, and I know you did too, of like, hey, you slow down, quit drinking, quit drugging, like, hey, slow down a little, hey, this might be your rock bottom.
Yeah.
And until I looked in the mirror and go, it's on me, no matter what it is. I want to get healthier, it's on me. I want to be a better father, it's on me. Better business owner, it's on me. Better partner, it's on me. Better dad, it's on me. It's
Yes.
completely on you, and it's your time.
Yep. The good old mirror check, man. The mirror check is so important. If you could go back 20 plus years and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Don't care about other people's opinions.
Big one.
I listened to so many other people instead of myself, and I got molded into this people pleaser person.
Yeah.
That's a great, that could go in so many different avenues, from drinking to business but yeah.
Good. That's good. All right, Ian. So last question is, what's something that Ian Fee enjoys doing for fun that the audience does not know?
Ooh. Well, it's relatively new, but we, as a family, my daughters love coffee shops and bookstores. And I was never a reader as a kid, never. I think I've read one book till I got sober, and then I don't know, I'm up to 100 books now after 8 years or whatever. So we go to these little cafe, hole-in-the-wall bookstores and have coffee and scroll through these old books.
Yeah, that's good. It's good scrolling through the old books.
Just a simple little thing, yeah.
And it's time.
Not a lot of people know about my little, like, you sit in coffee shops and look at books. Yep,
Yeah.
I do. I do.
And not only that, but it's also time with the family, right?
Yeah, well, again, we go back to that definition of being present.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'll help you get present for sure.
That'll help you get present.
Man, Ian, I knew that you were gonna come bring the thunder, brother, and I didn't know I didn't think you could go above my expectations, but you went above and beyond, brother, and I really appreciate having you on the platform. I enjoy our conversation, and I'm grateful that God saved your life, and I'm grateful that you did the work because God doesn't reward wishful thinking; He rewards aligned action. And you took action when you asked him to help you and get you to this next level. And that's what's happening. And I'm grateful to have you on the show, brother.
I'm so thankful that we finally connected. I appreciate you, and man, keep doing what you're doing, because you're making an impact on people. And sometimes I know it doesn't feel like it, but you are making a massive impact on people and making life changing for people. So keep doing what you're doing. And I'm grateful for having me. And I look forward to a long relationship with you, my man.
I appreciate you, man, and you keep making the impact you're making, because you're impacting lives also. And I mean, listen, man, I think it's important what we're both doing, because I think people need to realize, and that's a big reason why I created this podcast, is we all have a story inside of us, and that story doesn't belong to us; it belongs to the people out there that we can create impact for. So thank you for sharing your story on the platform. Thank you for creating impact for the audience, man, and for everybody out there watching. I'm going to say the same thing I always say, man. LFSS, like, follow, subscribe, and most important, share the episode, because there's somebody out there right now who's looking to reforge their life, whether it's in their whatever domain, health, finance, business, relationship, mindset, and they don't have the know-how. They don't have the tools. And you sharing this episode or past episodes can help them reforge their life. So stay productive, stay purposeful, and stay blessed, y'all.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com. and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.